Welcome to iOS 18 hands-on development course. In this particular video, we are going to look at setting up your development environment. We will cover installing Xcode 16, we'll look at setting up your Apple developer account, and we'll look at exploring the Xcode 16 interface. And finally, we'll look at using Xcode Playgrounds. So first, let's look at installing Xcode 16. But before that, what is Xcode? Xcode is Apple's integrated development environment or IDE for macOS, used for developing software for macOS, iOS, watchOS, and tvOS, and many more. Now, first, for downloading and installing Xcode, you'll have to go to the Mac App Store, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. And we'll install Xcode, which is Xcode 16, which is compatible with iOS 18. After once that is installed, we'll go to the post installation steps, which is we'll launch Xcode and install any additional components required. So let's get started. Downloading and installing Xcode. So for this, on your Mac, go to App Store, search for App Store, and once you're in App Store, search for Xcode. Now for me it's saying open because I have it already installed, but if you have not installed it before, it will give you this download option here. So you can probably click on it and download it. It will mention here what's new. It's going to give you some preview. It's going to give you some details about this Xcode. Install the latest version of Xcode, which is Xcode 16, compatible with iOS 18. Verify that the system meets the minimum system requirements for your Xcode, and then go ahead and open it once it's installed. It might take some time because it's pretty, if you see, its size is 2.98 GB. And once you have it, launch Xcode and install any additional components required. You will be prompted to do this on first launch. Since I have already installed everything, it's not going to ask me anything at this particular point. Setting up your Apple developer account. So there are different types of developer accounts which we'll look at. We'll be creating our own developer account and setting up signing and certificates inside our Xcode. So the different developer accounts that are available here, you can probably look at this choosing a membership page inside Apple's developer portal. I'll tell you that there's Apple account and then this Apple developer program. Apple developer program is $99, whereas this basic Apple account is free, which you can use. It gives you Xcode developer tools, it'll give you beta releases, on-device testing, Apple developer forums, bug reporting with feedback, and OS beta releases. So it's available for both of them. So if you don't want to full access to the comprehensive set of developer tools and everything else, you can just use the basic Apple account here. So for setting up your Apple developer account, go to developer.apple.com, that's the developer portal, and over here click on account, and if you already have an Apple ID, just use that. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to say create now. Go and give my name. I'll fill out this form and directly jump to the next section. Once I sign up for this page, it will try to verify my email address. So it will send me an email saying make sure that you validate your email. So I'm going to open my email right now and 052284, continue. And then it will send me a text message. So I'm going to probably go ahead and validate that. It's kind of verifying my email and my phone number that I provided while registering. I'm going to go and go through this developer agreement, and I'll say I've read this before and I strongly recommend you go through this. I'll say submit. And then it's asking me to join the Apple developer portal. So a developer program, and I'm going to say enroll in today. It's going to say enroll with the Apple developer app. Open the Apple developer app on your iPhone, then select the account tab and sign in to continue. So I am going to say continue enrollment on the web. Confirm your personal information. I'm going to fill this form again. And once I fill this form, I'm going to press continue. I'm going to say I am an individual. I don't have a company. So I'm going to just go continue. And I'm going to go through this contract, download the PDF if you want to, and continue. once you complete reading. Now it's asking me to complete your purchase. Once you complete your purchase, you'll receive a purchase acknowledgement and membership confirmation ID. So it's gonna ask me to confirm this. Now this is $99 per year, this box, and I'm gonna say purchase. Once you complete your purchase, you can go back to Xcode and go to Xcode settings, and here add your Apple ID. I have already added my other ID, so I'm not going to go ahead and add the new one, which is I can go through the same process, but you can add your Apple ID here. Once your Apple ID is added here, you can just say download your manual profiles, or you can manage certificates, and it will create certificates for you so you can build apps with those certificates. So once you're completed with that, you're done with this particular section. Exploring the Xcode 16 interface, we'll go through the entire Xcode workspace, and we'll also be creating a new project in Xcode in this particular section. Exploring the Xcode 16 interface, I can create a new project. I can go through these steps where I can say, okay, do I want multi-platform, iOS, macOS, watchOS? I'm going to say iOS for now. I'm going to select app right now, and we'll go over all these things in more detail in next videos, but I'm going to just go here and say I want to call this my app, and then I'm going to leave everything as it is. For organization identifier, I always give my reverse domain name, which is com.vivianarana, so which is reverse of vivianarana.com, and that will be my bundle identifier here, and we'll talk about it more later. Interface, I'm going to keep SwiftUI for now. Language, I'll keep Swift, and I'll keep here, I'll say none for testing system, and for storage I'll say none, and go next. And then I'm going to select desktop and say create my app here, and it will create my app folder here, and it will create that app and all the required files here. So this, there you go, you have your Xcode, and we also created your first application here. Now in this particular workspace, you have the navigator pane, which is on the left side, which displays project files, search results. If you see on the top, they have all these different small icons. You can hover over them and it will tell you what they are. But this is your project file, search results, and symbol definitions. You will use this to browse and manage project files. Next, we have the editor area, which is this main area, the main code editing space where you can write and edit your Swift or SwiftUI code. You also have the inspector pane, which is not visible right now, but I can click on this on top over here, and depending on which file you have selected, okay, let me close this, which file you have selected, it will give you details about that file or folder. You also have the debug area, which is at the bottom. You click on this and it will show you the debug area. It displays logs and output from the app. You will use it to check for errors and track application flow during testing. Then you also have the interface builder, which is optional with UIKit, a visual layout tool for building interfaces with UIKit components. Now we don't have those files here, but if you want to look at it, you can just say a new project, and inside that select a app and test app, and in this particular case I am going to say storyboard. Next, create, and this storyboard you'll see here is where your interface builder is, a visual layout tool for building interfaces with UIKit components. You also have the Swift UI canvas used for live previews when building Swift UI based applications, which you can probably see when I click here. When I select the content view, and if you see, it says preview paused here, but this is where it will show me a Swift UI canvas, which is used for live previews when building Swift UI based apps. And there you go, we see our actual app here being displayed in an iPhone 16 Pro. I can change that to any device that I want, and or change settings as per my requirements, and it will accordingly update this side over here. Using Xcode Playgrounds. Introduction to Playgrounds. Xcode Playgrounds offer a lightweight way to experiment with Swift code and Swift UI without the need to create a full project. You can quickly run snippets of code and test small UI elements in Playground. Let's look at creating and running Xcode in Playground. In Xcode, you can go ahead and say File, New, Playground. and I'll say just blank, next, save it to my desktop. And here you see a playground is created with some basic code which is importing UIKit, and we'll look at this later. And it says it creates a variable greeting and says hello world. I can play this, and on the right side you'll see it will execute and show the text hello world. The first time you run it, it will take some time, so be patient, but from there onwards it will be much more faster. And there you go, it says hello world printed on the right side. So this kind of concludes our video, and if you have any questions or had any issues during this, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. Thank you.